Hello friends, welcome to the sensors in different application area. We'll be continuing with the next sensor. In previous lecture we have seen the force, strength and tactile type of sensors which are used for measurement of force. So in today's lecture our focus will be on pressure sensor. So pressure sensors, before understanding going for the pressure sensors, let us try to understand the concepts related to the pressure, so that if it is understood you can go with the concepts related to pressure sensors. You can understand it very easily. So what is the concept of pressure? Just try to understand. So when we talk about any material or matter, either it will be in terms of solid or fluid. Okay, so generally the fluid includes the liquid and gases, and solid materials are in the form of solid form. So generally when we talk about the fluids, the concept of pressure came into existence. So by varying the pressure it is possible to change the liquid into gas and vice versa. So the best example is your deodorants, the spray deodorants. That means the liquids are converted into gas, it is in compact format, the pressure is very high, or vice versa is also possible. So liquid can be changed into gas and gas can be changed into liquid by varying the pressure. So this is quite possible. So the best example is also your LPG gas cylinder. So it is impossible to apply the pressure to the fluid in any direction. So you cannot apply the force in any direction, or you cannot apply the pressure in any direction except normal to its surface. So whenever you are applying it, the pressure, you have to apply it to the perpendicular to the surface of the fluid. So for fluid at a rest, the pressure can be defined as a force exerted perpendicular on a unit area of a boundary surface. So the force which is exerted perpendicular to the boundary of the surface having unit area is called as a pressure. So P is equal to dF by dA. So this is what the definition of pressure, which is generally applicable for gas and liquid. So the pressure is a it is a mechanical concept that can be fully described in terms of primary dimension of mass, length and time. So you can describe the pressure, because if you can describe it in terms of mass. Okay, so here you can describe it in terms of pressure can be also described in terms of mass, length and time. So pressure is strongly influenced by the position within the boundaries. At a given position it is quite independent of direction. So pressure, it is within the boundary and it is independent of direction. So if W is the specific width of a medium and H is the height, then expected variation in the pressure with the elevation is given by dP is equal to minus W into dH. Okay, so you can see that if weight is constant, then your pressure is proportional to your height. So pressure is unaffected by the shape of a confining boundary. So the shape doesn't matter the pressure. Thus the great variety of the pressure sensor can be designed without the concern of the shape and the dimension. So what matters is height. So if the pressure is applied on one side of the surface confining a fluid or a gas, the pressure is transferred to entire surface without diminishing the value. That means, let us consider that this is an surface and here you are applying a pressure. So this pressure will get transferred to this entire surface without diminishing the value. Okay, so the best example is when you take a balloon and you put a pressure on that, so you can see the changes in the balloon. So that is what the best example we can say about the pressure value, it the without diminishing, it get transferred to all the surface. So the kinetic theory of the gases states that the pressure can be viewed as a measurement of total kinetic energy of a molecules. So there is a theory related to the kinetic. Actually these are the mechanical concepts, but we need to understand the phenomena of pressure. If we understand the phenomena of pressure, you can easily design the sensors related to that one. Obviously the mechanical sensors are there, but we are more concerned about the electronic sensors. So the kinetic theory of the gases states that the pressure that can be viewed as a measure of a total kinetic energy of a molecule, and that can be given by P is equal to 2 by 3 Ke divided by V is equal to 1 by 3 rho into C square is equal to nRT. So Ke is the kinetic energy, V is the volume, C square is the average value of the square molecule velocity, rho is the density, n is the number of molecules per unit volume, R is the specific gas constant, and T is the absolute temperature. So P is equal to nRT. So this is what we can came up with the equations related to the kinetic energy. How the pressure is the kinetic energy can be explained as a part of pressure. So increase in pressure result in proportional increase in density. So obviously when you are going to compress a particular thing, the density of that material or the density of fluid or the density of that gas is going to increase. So here it is the example. You can see that actually this is a very famous law of Boyle's constant. So PV is equal to constant. This is the Boyle's law. You can see that when you are compressing it, you can see the density is increasing and density is also increasing. So pressure and volume product remains constant. So here it is the best example that will give you the idea related to the pressure. Okay. So the pressure is called relative when it is measured with respect to ambient pressure. So it is called as an absolute when it is measured with respect to vacuum. So relative pressure, absolute pressure. So when it is called as a relative pressure, when you measure it with respect to ambient pressure, and when you are measuring with respect to zero pressure or with respect to vacuum, then it is called as a absolute. Okay. Then next, the pressure of the medium may be static when it is referred to the fluid at rest. So when the fluid is at rest, we can say that the pressure of the medium which is acting on that fluid is static one, and it is referred to a kinetic energy when it when the fluid is moving. So it is a dynamic when you talk in terms of kinetic energy, the fluid is moving, but when the fluid is at rest, the pressure is static and it is dynamic when it is moving. So the SI unit of pressure is defined as a Pascal, and that 1 Pascal is equal to 1 Newton per meter square. We have already defined 1 Newton. So force acting on 1 kg, and if you move it to 1 meter per second square, so that is called as a, with a velocity of 1 meter per second square, that is called as a 1 Newton. That we have seen it in force. So Pascal is equal to 1 Newton per meter square is nothing but a Pascal. So this is the SI unit for the pressure. So 1 Pascal is equal to 1 Newton of force uniformly distributed over 1 square meter of the surface. This is what the definition we can give about Pascal. So pressure sensor operating principle is based on the conversion of a result of a pressure exertion on a sensitive element into electrical signal. So this is the principle used. So whatever may be the pressure is there, we need to convert it into electrical signal. That is the principle used, and that principle we have seen it in tactile sensor also. So this is what the principle used for the pressure sensors. Okay, so the pressure measurement may be reduced to measurement of a displacement or a force which results in a displacement. So that displacement is again converted into electrical signal. So that is also quite possible. Now we are going to see what kind of pressure sensors are there. So the first pressure sensor is piezoelectric sensor. So piezoelectric sensor, we know that whenever you are applying the pressure or a force on a surface, it is going to vibrate the piezoelectric material and the charge will be developed, or vice versa. When you apply the charge, the material gets vibrated. So this principle is used for this piezoelectric sensor. So to make a pressure sensor, the two essential components are required. First one is a plate that is called as a membrane, having a known cross sectional area A, and a detector which responds to the applied force. So both of these components can be fabricated using silicon. So the silicon diaphragm pressure sensor consists of a thin silicon diaphragm as an elastic material and a piezoelectric gauge resistor made by diffusive impurities on a diaphragm. So that impurities you need to diffuse it on that silicon, which will form it as a piezoresistive material, and that piezoresistive material, when you put on pressure on that one, obviously that pressure will change the resistance value, and that resistance value will change the overall electrical signal. So this is what the principle used over here. So it is customary to fabricate the strain gauge resistor connected as a Wheatstone bridge. So you can connect it in Wheatstone bridge also. The full scale output of such circuit is on the order of the several 100 millivolt, hence signal conditioning is required. So the output of this Wheatstone bridge or the output of such kind of sensor is of the order of few millivolts, and so you will be requiring the signal conditioning device so that the output of this can be brought to a certain level. So silicon resistor exhibit a quite strong temperature sensitivity, therefore the conditioning circuit should also include the temperature compensation. So when we apply the stress to a semiconductor resistor having initial resistance R, because of piezo-resistive element or the effect, there is a change in resistance delta R. So delta R upon R is equal to pi 1 sigma 1 plus pi t sigma t. So where pi 1 and pi t are the piezoelectric piezoresistive coefficients, and sigma 1 and sigma 2 are the stress in longitudinal and transverse directions. So delta R upon R depends upon the piezoelectric constant in longitudinal as well as transverse direction. Longitudinal means this direction and transverse in this direction. We will consider that one, and the stresses applied in that directions. So R depends upon that one. So here it is actually how you can create this diaphragm. So you can see that the diaphragm consists two resistances R1 and R2. So R1 is on the diaphragm and R2 is connected to that one, and X and Y direction you will be getting. So this X and Y direction will give you a transverse as well as longitudinal directions. So this is a longitudinal if we consider, then in that case this may be a transverse or vice versa. Okay. So this will form a piezoresistive type of. So here you can see that the R1 and R2 are diffuse resistors on this diaphragm, and you are putting a pressure on that one. So that is going to change the dimension of this diaphragm, and obviously that is going to change the resistance value because of the pressure. So the change in resistivity is proportional to the applied stress and subsequently applied pressure. So the resistors are positioned on a diaphragm in such a manner that they have a longitudinal as well as transverse coefficient of opposite polarity. Therefore, the resistors change in opposite directions, and you'll be getting like this. So pi L, that is in longitudinal, that is equal to minus pi T, that is given as 1 upon 2 pi in that direction. So delta R1 upon delta R1 upon R1 is equal to minus R2 upon R1. Why it is minus? Because it is of opposite direction, and that will be given by 1 upon 2 pi 4 sigma 1 y, because it is in y direction, into sigma L into x direction. So you will be getting this value changed in this direction. So when connecting the R1 and R2 as a half bridge circuit, which is connected in a bridge, so that these two components are connected as a half of the portion, and other two will be used for balancing the bridge in initial condition whenever the pressure is not applied. So you need to keep the ratio constant of opposite arm. So executing the bridge with E, you will be getting the output voltage V out, which is proportional to the pressure. So when you apply the pressure, R1 and R2 will change, and that R1 and R2 will unbalance the bridge, and that unbalance is proportional to the pressure. And this is what the simple concept used in this piezoelectric sensor. So V out is equal to E into whatever may be the change in resistance. So that change in resistance will be calculated. So you will be getting the V out. So the pressure sensitivity, you are able to calculate AP, and the temperature sensitivity of the circuit BT can be found by taking the partial derivatives. So you have to take the partial derivative with respect to V out, and you can get the pressure sensitivity. Similarly, you can calculate the temperature sensitivity when you take the partial derivative of AP, and you will be able to calculate the temperature sensitivity also. So since delta pi by delta T is a negative value, the temperature coefficient sensitivity is negative, and the sensitivity decreases at higher temperatures. So this is what we came to the conclusion. So there are many manufacturers, so we'll be considering here the example of Motorola MPX type of pressure sensor. So these piezoelectric elements consist of a strain gauge, is iron implanted on a thin silicon diaphragm. So here it is the example how it is manufactured. So you can see that this is a diaphragm, and on this you can see here it is this is one segment, second segment, third and fourth. So these four segments are again zoomed here, and you can see that these are the active elements. That means it requires a power supply, and these are the voltage taps where you can get it. So this will form a bridge, and whenever you are applying a pressure on that one, so this is the manufacturing process of, or this is the cross sectional area of a Motorola MPX type of. So you can see that pin number 1 will be giving you the ground, pin number 2 will be giving you the positive output, pin number 3 you are supposed to supply the power supply, and pin number 4, this is the 4 pin IC where pin number 4 is a negative output. So you will be getting the output across pin number 2 and pin number 4. So you will be getting the output across pin number 2 and pin number 4. So this is how you will be getting is the piezoelectric sensor. Okay. So the excitation current is passed through the longitudinal resistors tap 1 and 3, and you will be getting the output across 2 and 4. So this is the stress establishes the transverse electric field in the resistors that is sensed by the voltage tap 2 and 4. So the thin diaphragm with 1 mm square area size may be formed by using one of the commonly used silicon etching solutions. So etching solutions, you might be knowing the process of manufacturing the ICs and how etching is done, so that you have to go through the techniques related to that one. So whatever may be the PCB etching strategy is there. Similarly, such kind of silicon etching is also there. So if the time permits, I will come up with another video related to this. So another method of diaphragm fabrication is based on silicon diffusion bonding type of technique, where a single crystal silicon wafer can be reliably bonded with near perfect interface without use of intermediate layers. So you don't require any intermediate layers, and you can reliably bond the single wafer with the help of technique called as a silicon fusion bonding. So here it is the technique shown. So you can see that the first one is the upper layer, and the second one is the silicon wafer. Then you can put this SFB and you can have a bond of that one, and you can etch the upper layer, and you will be getting such kind of bonding. So this is possible with the help of SFB technique. So here it is the example of that SFB. That means you want this area to be developed, and etching process has been carried out by this method. So that is possible with the help of SFB. So the piezoelectric sensors are usually available in three basic configurations that permits the measurement of absolute, differential and gauge pressures. So absolute pressures such as barometric pressures, that means you are measuring the pressure of the air, that is called the barometric pressure, is measured with respect to reference of the vacuum chamber. Then the differential pressure is a pressure that drops in a pressure difference flow meter and is measured by applying the pressure to the opposite sides of the diaphragm simultaneously. And the gauge pressure is measured with respect to some kind of reference pressure. So gauge pressure is a special case of differential pressure, and all the silicon based sensors are characterized by the temperature dependence. So you need a temperature compensation techniques in such kind of silicon based sensors. So in many applications, simple yet temperature coefficient compensation is required by adding a sensor, either series or a parallel temperature stable resistor, so that will provide you the compensation for the temperature. So by selecting the appropriate value of the resistor, the sensor output can be tailored to desired operating range of the temperature. So the viable alternating to the complex compensation circuit is a software compensation, where the temperature of the pressure transducer is measured by an embedded temperature sensor. So you can also compensate it with the software compensation. So when the temperature sensor or the pressure sensor is embedded and having a embedded temperature sensor inside it, then you can easily compensate with the help of software compensations. Now the next sensor is the capacitive sensor. So the capacitive principle, the capacitance principle is used in many applications. So here in pressure sensor also the capacitance principle is used for measurement of pressure. So we know that the capacitance is depends upon the cross sectional area of the plate, distance between the two plates, as well as the dielectric material. So this is going to change when you apply the pressure on the surface of the one of the moving plate. Obviously that is going to change the distance between the two plates, as well as if you are using any dielectric material in between that is going to change the density, and obviously if the density is changing, obviously the dielectric constant will also change. So pressure to electric output conversion process using a capacitive sensor. So the diaphragm displacement modulates the capacitance with respect to reference plate. So the other plate is a reference plate. Let us consider that there are two plates. So if I consider this one as a reference plate and this is a moving plate. So when you apply the pressure on this one, so that is going to change, or that is going to make a displacement, and the distance between these two is going to change. So that is going to change the capacitance. So the conversion is especially effective for the low pressure sensors. So whenever the low pressure applications are used, you can refer to the capacitive sensors. To maximize the operational stability, the entire sensor manufactured in a solid piece of silicon. The diaphragm can be designed to produce up to 25% of a capacitance change over a full range. That means over a full range of pressure, the capacitance will change from 0 to 25%. The capacitance diaphragm utilizes the displacement of its central position, so that is going to change. So these diaphragms can be protected against the overpressure by including the mechanical stops close to either side of the diaphragm. So to avoid it from the damage, so whenever the diaphragm you are putting a pressure, so there is a possibility that if you apply highest pressure, then in that case there will be a permanent damage to the diaphragm. So to avoid that, you can put a mechanical switch over there or mechanical stop, so that the diaphragm doesn't go beyond that one. So you can maintain the elasticity of that diaphragm or mechanical properties of that diaphragm. So this is what the principle used for protecting the diaphragm against overpressure. So the capacitor sensor with overpressure stops can handle 1000 times of the full rated scale pressure. So these pressures can handle 1000 times than the normal pressure, but we should not go for the overpressure type of testing. So especially it is important for a low pressure applications, whereas relatively high pressure pulses can occur. So in such cases we can use such kind of capacitive pressures. While designing the capacitive pressure sensor, a good linearity is important factor to maintain the flatness of the diaphragm. So the linearity of the diaphragm depends upon the flatness, so we need to maintain that one. The one way to improve the linear range is to make the diaphragm with a grooves or a corrugated material, corrugated type of technology. So corrugation means linear. I'll give you the example. This is called as a linear type of diaphragm. Sorry, this is a linear diaphragm, which is a straight one, and this is a corrugated type of diaphragm. Okay, just like a tin. So elasticity of this type of diaphragm is very high, so you can improve its linear range, but this will give you a good linearity as compared to this one. So the planar diaphragm are generally considered more sensitive than the corrugated diaphragm. So sensitivity of the linear one is more as compared to the corrugated type of diaphragms. So you can see the center displacement and the pressure with the inches, so you can see the linearity is more. So the sensitivity you can decide it with the help of this diagram also. So with the help of this so center displacement, the center displacement will be high for corrugated, whereas flat will not give you that much sensitivity. Okay, so here you find that pressure inch H2O. So this H2 is not water, so it is one of the major or one of the unit in which you can measure the pressure. So you please refer to the different pressure measurements that is also available in the book, or you can refer to any website, and you will find that the pressure can be defined in various units. So this is one of the unit, H2O, inch H2O. Okay, so with that we have seen the two types of sensors. First one is the piezoelectric type of sensor, and second one is the capacitive sensor. So this capacitive sensor as well as the piezoelectric sensors have the applications in pressure as well as they have many the principles are used in many applications for measurement of force, for measurement of strength, and any other applications. So that's why you need to understand the principles related to a particular technique. If you understand that principle, you can easily apply this technique to various sensors, and if you have any query, you can put it on you can ask me on anupvibhuti@gmail.com. If you don't have, you can visit my channel Tech Fundas. You can go through the videos, and if you have any queries, you can ask me. And thank you very much for watching video.